Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode for the Coaching Conversations podcast. Now, we are on Stitcher, we are on iTunes, and multiple different channels. Please check us out. Now, one of the things that you'll get out of our podcast episodes is a lot of content, a lot of strategy. It's not fluff, it's not concept, yet we really want you to engage with the content and let us know your feedback. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If there's topics you'd love to have us address, we would love to share them with you. Let us know your impact and let us know your feedback. When I think about 2025 and I think about all the things that have changed in our industry, I go back to the pandemic. I think the pandemic, maybe for the wrong reasons, really served the coaching industry well. It certainly did not serve a lot of people well from a health standpoint, but I say that with respect and hopefully some humility and consideration for those people who are affected. Yet, sadly, when there are catastrophic things like the pandemic and COVID, the way it hit people in certain families and countries, sometimes good things come out of it. And one of the things that happened during COVID is coaching skyrocketed. I mean, coaching absolutely skyrocketed. And here we are 5 years later, 2025. What's going to happen? What are some of the predictions? What are some of the things that are going to occur? And I think about a couple things. And so the first thing is, AI. AI is here. Now, I'm going to make a prediction. AI, and we're building out our own AI tools. Artificial intelligence will serve us well. It will never replace human conversation. Now, why do I stress that so vigorously? Number one, AI scares some people. Is it going to affect my job? Is it going to replace some of my duties? Those are common questions being asked today. Here's the funny thing. That requires a conversation with your boss. So now it puts leaders in a precarious position, not knowing the future, not knowing how AI is going to affect things. That's a coaching conversation. Number two, hybrid coaching will continue to grow. I think for us personally, selfishly, it was one of the best things in the world. Travel was restricted, so it forced people to do things like Zoom and WebEx and tools like that. Now, why is that so important? I think about the Zoom breakout rooms and, GoToMeeting, WebEx has them as well. But a breakout room allows us to have private conversation. A workshop setting doesn't when we need to practice. What do we do in a workshop? We do it within earshot of our boss or our boss's boss. That can be uncomfortable for some. So the hybrid coaching, those breakout rooms, those private areas where we can coach and collaborate and talk, creates a safe place. Now, the funny thing is the tools are getting even better in hybrid coaching. And I found a tool just the other day that actually measures the leader's coaching conversation ability against criteria. So we're actually going to start using it for our company and our clients, and it plugs right into Zoom and Teams and other tools. So when the conversation starts, they get immediate feedback on how they coached. Now, notice it does not replace the human conversation. Number three, I absolutely think we are moving towards a collaboration between well-being and grit. Jamie Dimon, the world famous banker here in the United States, made that mistake, right? He said, June 1st, everybody back in the office. And they had a large exit of people leaving the company because people wanted that hybrid environment and people, perceived he wasn't concerned about their well-being. Yet on the flip side, he was right. Come on, we got work to do. And, just recently I was talking to somebody and for healthcare professionals, mental health care professionals, please don't take this disrespectfully, but I said this when this started to come out, we're going to have, mental health and we're going to have a focus on people's well-being, and we should. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is I knew it was going to get weaponized. And just last week, I had somebody say, I had an employee who literally called in and said, I need a mental health day. Found out the person went shopping, used it for social time. That employee, in her mind, said, but that is my mental health day. Now, it's open for interpretation, right? Yet that employee's work didn't get done that day, or somebody picked up the slack. So I think we're going to have a collaboration between things like well-being and grit, guts, resilience, intensity, tenacity. Anybody who knows me, I have a whole course on coaching to grit, but I love Angela Duckworth's book, Grit. And it is the power of passion and perseverance over a period of time that really encompasses facing change and challenge. Now, we're also going to go towards more data-driven decisions. And I think that's going to start to affect coaching more and more. I'm going to make a very strong comment, like maybe one of the strongest comments I could make. And I hear this all the time, and it drives me nuts. So I'm really interested in my fellow training, coaching professionals to hopefully support me. Measure to improve. Don't measure to see if coaching works. Coaching works. And I just had a client about a year ago say to me, well, we got to look at the data. I want to make sure that, the program's working. I hate that. And I said, look, if that's your criteria, we should end our relationship now. And he looked at me and goes, well, geez, Tim, you don't have to get so defensive. I go, it's not defensive, but you're looking at this the wrong way. I said, I've demonstrated in front of you, right? He said, yeah. I said, has there ever been a time when someone's asked me to demonstrate or to give feedback or suggestions on how to coach someone where I was stumped? And he said, well, of course not. Now, I don't say that to be arrogant or to promote myself. And I looked at him, I said, would you trust that I know how to coach? And he said, well, of course I would. And I said, so the program does work. And he smiles, he goes, great point. And I said, the question should be, how are your people working the program? Are they practicing? Are they following through on the modules? Are they showing up for all the cohorts? I said, do you know those answers? And he said, no, I don't. I said, yet you've launched yourself into the stratosphere of, does the program work? Yet you're not even sure if the program is being leveraged internally. So data should be used to improve, not to discredit coaching. Now, my last two big predictions, I think, are going to be really prevalent if companies do their research. I believe peer-to-peer coaching is going to absolutely skyrocket. I think we have a talent shortage, so we have to get more out of each other. That cannot be solely on the shoulders of leaders. I have come to that side of the table, so to speak. I think leaders have so much. So I'm a leader of 10 people. Here's some industry data. 85% or 8.5 out of my 10 employees lack self-awareness. 7.1 are neutral or actively disengaged. Only 2.9 or 29% of people in the workforce, according to Gallup, are actively engaged or positive. Now, here's the funny thing. Gallup also reports, and I love Gallup, that people engage 8 times more if we lead with the good stuff. So what we have to do is accelerate that with peers doing that for each other. And I don't think it's just peer-to-peer coaching. I think it is a peer-to-peer coaching network. You have to build an internal network and community of peer-based coaches. Truth be told, I think everybody should coach. Truth be told, I think everybody has the ability to coach. Truth be told, it will absolutely turn those numbers I just alluded to in the right direction. Last, I kind of fell into this. My coach, Philip, and I work via Slack. We don't have a lot of scheduled time. I believe asynchronous coaching will absolutely grow, meaning collaborating online, sending messages back and forth, whether it be Teams or we use Slack when I work with Philip. Now, we also use a tool called Clarity Flow, fantastic tool that we will also use, to have online collaboration. And so let's say when Philip's coaching me and I've got to coach one of my employees, or I got to coach a client and I ask him for advice, but our scheduled session isn't until next Tuesday, yet I'm going to meet with this client Friday and it's Wednesday. I can send him a message. Now, you want to have some rules and structures. Now, we teach a whole program called Cadence Coaching, so you can learn how to do this. And we actually use a really cool tool that we purchased that we'll be white labeling here in the next year. That's fantastic. Asynchronous coaching, where you can have, let's say, weekly messages going back and forth. So a simple version of this could be, Joanne, I want you to put in 3 times this week where you had success in one area or one challenge that you had this week, and then I'll collaborate with her. And let's say she and I are focusing on her becoming a manager. I might use that as an apparatus for our monthly scheduled session. So cadence can really serve as a foundational communication and coaching collaboration approach where you might have scheduled sessions as well. That can be another version of hybrid coaching. So I think in summary, I think we're really moving in a direction of non-traditional coaching as we know it. I don't think it will always be coaching one-on-one from coach to executive or from executive to leader or from leader to employee, once a month for 15 minutes or 50 minutes or twice a month for 45 minutes. I think the calendar-based coaching will always be there, yet it won't be the only source of coaching. It's kind of like I think we're in the midst of a transition going from the classroom to e-learning. Remember that big shift we all felt? A lot of companies don't just do stand-up training by itself anymore. There's a combination of online and then workshop or seminar setting. I think the same thing's going to happen in coaching. So what are your predictions? What are your thoughts? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.